Welcome to another Divorce TV show. We have Rosalind Sadaka joining us for the first time on the show. Rosalind is the creator of Child-Centered Divorce, and it's Child-Centered Divorce Month this January, so we're going to hear all about that from Rosalind shortly. We are ending with a healing from Debbie Telli, and we have a shared story. We've got Nikki Bruno back to talk to us about her own experiences and her epic comeback. But right now, let's go and see what's happening in the news. The first story today is from the Marriage Foundation, and they said that the divorce rate among celebrity couples is 67% higher than other couples during the early years of their marriage. And this is from a report from the Marriage Foundation. The report, Celebrity Divorce First and Second Marriages, looks at 484 celebrity couples whose marriages were covered in glossy magazines such as Hello and OK between 2001 and 2010. It found that during the first 16 years of marriage, just over half, that's 52%, ended in divorce, compared with 31% for non-celebrities. Harry Benson, who's the Marriage Foundation's research director and the report's author, he commented that we look up to celebrities because they have achieved fame and success, and we love their glamorous weddings because it's love and it's forever and it's the dream. But the harsh truth is that the divorce rate among celebrity couples is significantly higher than ordinary people during the first 16 years of marriage, making them very poor role models. The report found the highest celebrity divorce rates among musicians, with an overall divorce rate of 60%, ranging from 69% for first marriages to 51% for second marriages. Actors and actresses fare marginally better, divorcing at an overall rate of 52%, while sporting and other celebrity marriages fare best at 39%, though still substantially worse than the rest of us. Mr. Benson continued that the lesson from the report is clear. If you're looking for a celebrity couple to follow, look at those who have been married for a long time, such as Sarah Lancashire, 19 years, Tina Fey, 19 years, Gabby Logan, 19 years, and Alexander Armstrong, 17 years, rather than Katie Price, 4 years to Peter Andre, Britney Spears, 55 hours to Jason Alexander, and Katy Perry, 2 years to Russell Brand. Let me know which celebrities inspire you the most as role models, not just for staying married, but also for the way that they divorce. They do exist. Refinery 29 is telling us that new year, new Zoe Kravitz. The actress is kicking off 2021 with a major life change, a divorce from her husband of 1 year, Carl Glusman. According to court records obtained by People, the high-fidelity star filed to dissolve her marriage to Glusman on December the 23rd. Her team confirmed the news of the split, but didn't give any insight as to what might have happened between the two, though a social media post on Kravitz's Instagram hinted that things may not have exactly ended on good terms for the couple. Over the weekend, Kravitz shared a meme on her Instagram story showing a woman throwing trash labelled "People, Places and Things that no longer serve my greatest and highest good" into a dumpster. The post has now expired. Kravitz and Glusman's relationship started in 2016 via an introduction through their mutual friends. The pair kept things low-key until they were pictured together at a Kings of Leon concert in New York City sometime later. Glusman popped the question in February 2018, and for months no one even noticed that Kravitz was wearing an engagement ring until she mentioned it in her Rolling Stone cover story. Following the quiet engagement, the lovers were wed in a Parisian ceremony attended by close family and friends, including Kravitz's Big Little Lies co-stars. But 1 year, I hope they had a prenup. Last story of the day is from The Sun. Finally, we've been following this story over quite a while now. Kim Kardashian has decided to divorce Kanye West after he refused to stay on meds for his bipolar disorder or help her care for their 4 kids, a source exclusively revealed to The Sun. The reality star, 40, has reportedly hired powerhouse celebrity lawyer Laura Wasser to handle the divorce, and she is believed to be in settlement talks with the rapper, 43. Now an insider has apparently revealed how the reality star tried everything to make the marriage work, but got sick of feeling like a single mom to the 4 kids: North 7, Chicago 2, Saint 5, and 1-year-old Palm, and decided to call it quits. Kim wanted nothing more than to make her marriage work, the close source told The Sun. She's been through painfully difficult times and somehow managed to get him back on track, but it isn't easy to do when you have 4 children and live separately. She loves Kenya and always will, but he isn't willing to remain on his medication and to do what it takes to make it work. Kim too opened up to Vogue in 2019 about Kenya, telling the magazine, for him, being on medication is not really an option because it just changes who he is. The source said when Kim and Kenya started their family, Kim felt they were on the same page about life and their future, but that the last 2 years she has watched as he's spun out of control, separated himself from her and the children, and will do nothing to work on their marriage. While she tries her best to co-parent and bring the children to him, he's more focused on music and talking about his next presidential race than looking after the kids. The estranged couple are now set, according to The Sun, to go to war over the $60 million luxury mansion in California as both fight to keep the dream house. Well, as she's worked so hard to try to keep the marriage and support her husband, and I'm sure there are many of you out there who are also dealing with mental illness in your marriage, and it's a tough one, let's hope she tries just as hard to not turn the divorce into a battle. We're going to now talk to our special guest, Rosalind Sadaka. Hello, Rosalind.
Hey, how are you?
Perfect. Can see you and hear you. It's always a good start. And as I was just telling everyone, you are the creator of Child Centre Divorce, and this is Child Centre Divorce Month, isn't it? January. And you do this every year. How many years have you been doing this?
This is our 14th year of commemorating International Child Centre Divorce Month.
And tell us a little bit about it. What does it mean? Because it is international, isn't it? It's here in the UK, it's the States, it's all around the world. You've got people involved.
Around the world. Yes. So what we're about is getting the divorce experts around the world to all provide complimentary resources and gifts, videos, audio programs, webinars, coaching services, ebooks, whatever they want to provide to help parents before, during, and long after divorce. The Child Centered Divorce Network is all about the family and making sure parents understand the consequences of divorce on children, and that every decision every parent makes is impacting children. So when you're divorcing as a parent, it's a very different experience than if you're divorcing and you don't have children. So we want to help parents feel supported by understanding options they have, choices they have, and ways to reduce conflict, improve communication, heighten the experience for the children, reduce fear and trauma and emotional challenges, and all of those kinds of things. So we provide all the information that anyone could possibly need before, during, and after divorce to give them the best experience. And we put it all on a special website that we create especially through the month of January.
It'll be great if you can put that on our on the comments afterwards. The link to that. There was there was some strange clicking sounds and swooshing music, watery sounds in the background. I don't know what's going on there, but seems to have stopped now, which is good because I want to be able to really focus on what you're saying. How did you come to do what you're doing? Because you didn't just sort of wander into this. You've got your own personal history, haven't you?
Certainly do. So I was married for close to 20 years, and the marriage was very frustrating and disappointing for me. And I had a son who was 11 years old, and he was starting to show the signs of the stress of a marriage that wasn't working and developing headaches and other symptoms. And I knew that for years I was trying to avoid a divorce, just like you were talking about Kim Kardashian. It isn't something you want to expose your child to, but it reached a point when I knew that was going to be a better option for everyone in the family than the continuing stress. And so I was very upset emotionally and psychologically about the experience and how it was going to affect my son. And I spent weeks of sleepless nights trying to create an option to give him the best outcome, to give myself and my husband the best outcome, and make sure that we're able to give him the best life possible. And I was able to do that. And I created what I call a child-centered divorce, learning the lessons along with my ex so that we could co-parent my son effectively. And one day when my son was in his early 20s, out of the blue, he came to me and he said, you know, Mom, you and Daddy did a really good job with your divorce. And I wanted to thank you because most of my friends whose parents divorced either hate their parents or are very angry at them. And I think you guys were great. And I just let out such a sigh of relief. I was holding on to so much guilt and insecurity about what was going to happen to my son. And that became the catalyst for my creating the Child Centered Divorce Network and ultimately writing my signature book, How Do I Tell the Kids About the Divorce, which of course is one of the most traumatic and difficult conversations any parents are ever going to have. My son wrote the foreword to the book as a young adult, talking about his own experience as a child and being raised in a family of divorce, and letting people know that if it's handled right, divorce doesn't have to be a negative thing in a family. Sometimes it's the best thing that can happen because it gives everyone in the family an opportunity to have happier life together and apart.
Brilliant, brilliant. And tell us a little more about the book, because it's quite a unique. It is actually a book. You create a book, don't you? A storybook for your children.
Yes. It's called How Do I Tell the Kids About the Divorce? Create a storybook guide to preparing your children with love. And what I do is I write the script. I create templates for ages 5 to 10 and 10 to 15. And parents will download that script and update it and customize it to fit their particular family dynamics, the number of children in the family and some other factors, and personalize it. But most of the messages I provide for them, and it talks about the key messages that children need to hear during this difficult conversation, reminding children they're not to blame, they're not at fault, and that mom and dad will always be their mom and dad, and that life is going to go on, and that change is a normal part of life, just like the seasons change and our hairstyles change. So this is a change in the form of our family, but our family will still exist, and that's very comforting for children. So parents take photos from the past of happy times, vacations, and birthdays, and celebrations, and holidays, and they put that in a storybook, a photo album, along with the text. And the text takes them through the entire experience of what has been happening in the past up to the present, and reminding them that life is going to go on and it's going to be okay because both mom and dad, or whoever the parents are taking care of the situation. And it leaves everyone with a brighter future. And I have 6 psychotherapists who contributed to the text in the book to make sure parents understand that this initial choice is going to impact the rest of the way their divorce is handled. And so if mom and dad get on the same page and don't point the finger at one another and don't badmouth one another during the pre-divorce experience, through the divorce, and then after the divorce, then the kids will have an opportunity to have a good experience and move on and look back at the experience and say, I learned something from this. And I am so grateful to my parents for doing it right, which is what happened with my son.
The key thing is, isn't it, is to get in there early and not wait to the last minute to let the kids to be the last to know, and to do it, as you say, because I love that focus that this is we've had this long story of being a family, and this is just an evolution of that, and that way of presenting it has got to be so much more helpful for the children and also for the parents, because it makes the whole telling them part probably more emotional but a less traumatic ultimately. So with I'm definitely looking forward to not just you popping your links to the website for Child Centred Divorce Month, but if you can put some links to that the storybook that you've created, and that would be wonderful as well. I'd like people to have access to that.
all of my resources and programs and courses and coaching services are available at childcentereddivorce.com. So it's very easy to find me and all of those resources.
Fabulous. Well, I'd love to get you back on the show again at a later date as well, and hopefully without there's a funny clicking going on in the background, which but I think we can still hear you fine, so it's okay. But I don't know what it is. Sometimes we get strange things coming up in the backgrounds on these, but it was brilliant having you on the show. Thank you so much for taking the time for joining us, Rosalind, and I look forward to clicking through all those links you're going to put on the comments, and I send you all the links later for all the different platforms that the show is on.
Excellent. I thank you so much.
Take care, Rosalind. Bye for now. So tell it with us as a story. What a wonderful way to do it, and to have that template. So look out for that, and I might just pop that into the Best Way to Divorce app welcome pack as well, because I think that would be a good addition. So now we're going to have a quick shoot through the masterclass. We've got a little bit of learning, and then we will have a chat with Nikki Bruno about her personal shared story. So my little lesson for today is from the masterclass. There's a nice QR code there if you want to go and have a look at it. We're on setting the compass. This stage covers various areas, and the first one is courage. Now you might think, well, it may not be the kind of courage that you were thinking of, so let me explain. So one of the biggest areas of courage comes when you ask yourself, how can I be respectful to my ex when I hate their guts? So I'm sorry to say this, but it is okay for your kids to behave with naked, raw emotions, but it isn't okay for you to do this. It's time for you to grow up. Every time you slag off your ex, you are effectively attacking your own children. They are half of that other parent, and they know it. So this is just one of the harsh truths that requires your courage, and it does take courage to face up to and take action on. Another is facing up to where you're going to live. Sometimes we can't afford, or a court won't allow us, due to the way they split the assets, for us to stay in the family home. So to even look at alternatives can be agonising. I mean, I remember looking at where to live, and also visiting schools that I didn't want my children to go to, because I had to consider all the options. But what amazed me was that by facing my fears, things didn't actually seem quite so grim. So in the end, many things didn't turn out as bad as I thought they could have done. And I believe that's because I didn't stick my head in the sand, and I somehow found the courage to keep my options flexible. Luckily, when it comes to your ex, there are ways to change your perception of them that will really serve you. So whether it's coping strategies learned via a life coach or a counsellor or therapist, or it's a full-on learning to forgive, which is more hardcore, but I have to be honest, only the route that comes with a real sense of peace, and that really works long term. Whichever route you take, you're going to find one that works for you. So if you stop to ask whether it's worth making the effort, just look at your children, or a photo of them if that's the closest you can get, and you'll have your answer. Now we can go to our shared story. And Nikki, I'm hoping that we can hear you.
I'm hoping we can too.
Yay, success, it's working. So lovely to have you back, and I'm looking forward to hearing your shared story about, and because that's why you're called Epic Comeback, your company, isn't it? Is because you made an epic comeback. So that's just talking earlier about the courage it takes to face up to the nitty gritty, whether it's where you're going to live or how you're going to survive. There is a lot of courage involved, isn't there? And you needed quite a bit yourself, didn't you?
I needed a lot of courage, Susie, more courage than I ever thought that I had in me. Absolutely. I'd love to share a little bit about the beginning of my epic comeback and how it started, which is that I was looking in the mirror. It was a moment when I was looking in the mirror. And I was about 2 years into a 3-year divorce process. It was a high conflict divorce. It was certainly traumatic for me. And there were 2 children involved. My husband at the time and I had 2 children who were at the time a toddler and a preschooler. And I had been going through a lot of emotional strife. I was pretty depressed. There was some emotional abuse going on, and I was at a point where I was just starting to get my feet back on the ground after being able to move out of our marital home. We had had a court hearing that established temporary custody orders, which was a huge relief, I think, for all of us, because it meant that I could then move out and we could live in separate homes. And so, after about maybe 6 months of being in a new household with my children and myself, I looked in the mirror one day, and it was that moment where I was finally ready to look and really tell myself the truth about what had happened. Like you were saying, Susie, to face up to what I had lost, to what I had gained, to what I had learned, and certainly to a moment of taking responsibility for my own future. Because no matter what was happening and no matter what had happened in my marriage, I, in this moment, realized and embraced the fact that it was my responsibility 100% to move into the future and either to get over it or not. And in this moment, I looked in the mirror and I said out loud to myself, I said, Bruno, which is my last name, I said, Bruno, this isn't funny anymore. This isn't funny anymore. I am not going to be a victim anymore. I am going to take complete and full responsibility for getting my mojo back, for finding joy in my life again, and for being the best parent and professional and person that I can be for my children and for me. And that was when I vowed that I was going to make an epic comeback and that I was going to build a life for myself that was going to be better than any kind of version of my life that I had ever had, even before the crisis of my marriage. And that was what began a several months and now years process of making that epic comeback, of creating my business, which is called The Epic Comeback, and now helping others through being a divorce empowerment coach to make their own epic comebacks. Because I know that it is not just possible, but very possible to move on in a powerful way from divorce.
And it's interesting what you said about there is a time lapse, isn't there? You don't just dive into an epic comeback when you're still sorting out the financials and where you're going to live. You do need a little bit of healing time. How that when that moment came when you looked in the mirror and you said, this isn't funny anymore, I don't want to be a victim, how did you know that you were ready then?
I knew it because of a complete and total change in energy inside of me. I knew it because I could see it in my own eyes looking back at me in the mirror. I was ready, and I don't know if it's kind of something that happened because of the passage of time or something that happened because I am a positive and forward-looking and goal-oriented person already. But I just knew it was an internal shift, a big one.
And I think the key clue is that you didn't want to be a victim anymore. I think that it is a conscious decision, and we both know there's people. It's not time. You can spend years being a victim if you want to.
Yes.
But it is somehow you're lucky enough to get to that point where you go, I don't want to do this anymore. And it's a very magical time. And did you find that it was difficult to get support at that time? Because it's a huge transition.
I didn't find it difficult to get support because I was working with an excellent therapist. I also started working with a fitness coach, actually. So fitness and getting my body, kind of reclaiming my relationship with my body and getting back in shape after 3 years of basically not working out and kind of ignoring my health in some ways. I started working with a fitness coach. She was incredibly supportive. And I also had supportive friends. I was a member of a church at that time. And so I didn't have a hard time with the support because I had done such a good job of putting supports in place for myself when the divorce began. So I had that already in place.
But do you find for the clients that you work with that quite often that's not the case?
Yes, I do. I find that my clients try to gut it out without making sure that they have unconditional support, unconditional love from their families, from their friends. And a lot of people, when they're going through a divorce, don't understand or realize that working with someone like a divorce coach can make your divorce more efficient, faster, and cheaper. And part of the reason for that is that a divorce coach helps you to keep your attitude realistic, positive, future oriented, goal oriented, and will help you strategize the best kinds of professionals to work with, and the best way to approach your divorce so that it doesn't end up being this long embittered process.
And it's great to hear you say that, because you had a very difficult situation, and again, you must get a lot of people who easily stay in victim mode because of that, but you bust all those excuses, don't you? And I think you're absolutely right. I'm always recommending people work with coaches right from the beginning, because it affects every decision you make. As it starts with, how do I feel about myself? And I think it's amazing the work that you've done. And what would you say is your top piece of information tip, if you like, advice to someone who's sitting now watching this thinking, well, I've got a horrible narcissist and they're a bully and I feel terrible and I'm frightened. What's one of the first things they can do to start to get themselves onto the right track where they're going to be able to make at some point their own epic comeback?
Number one thing to do is to open yourself up to tell the truth about what an incredible person you are. If you've been in an abusive relationship, and if you're in a high conflict situation in your home, it's something that poisons you over a period of days, months, years, and for some people even decades. And that poison turns you against yourself. It enters into your mind, your heart, your soul, and your body. So what I recommend doing is to reintroduce yourself to yourself by sitting down with paper and making a list of moments when you've been a rock star, moments when you have felt powerful, when you've accomplished something, when you have felt a strong sense of self-love or competence or excellence. Remind yourself of those rock star moments and remember them. Remember the little girl you were, remember the little boy you were, and remember the incredible essence of you, because that person is very much still there, and that is the person who's going to help you make your comeback.
I think we should all do that. It's such a great exercise. Thank you so much, Nikki. It's lovely to see you, and I hope to get you back again soon. Maybe sharing some tales from some of your clients that obviously appropriately some of their journeys as well. That would be lovely. See you soon, Nikki. Thank you so much. And after that epic interview, we are now going to have a very quick roundup, which is, I'm going to focus, to be honest, on my divorce financial workshop. And this is sponsored by Weller's Law Group. And it's very exciting to have a workshop where a lot of the time you're encouraging people to stay away from using unnecessary use of solicitors where they don't really need them. And to get that sponsored by a law firm who think, fantastic, they don't want you to go to court or waste lots of money either. So they're what I call the right kind of lawyers. And we've got everything from obviously family law, collaborative lawyer. Lorraine's a collaborative lawyer. Plus we've got immigration, because that's becoming more and more an issue with divorce. It can affect your divorce status. Plus, of course, our lovely coaches and other experts, and the financial guru we have of Henry as well. So if we do have some spaces left, so if you haven't already managed to book into this one, this is UK only. Not that it wouldn't be useful also for those in the States, but I'm looking to do specific ones for the US. But now we're going to prepare ourselves for going into our live, well, it's a pre-recorded healing of Debbie, and she does a lovely meditation, which some of you may have seen before. So sit back, relax, and let's get grounded and back into our bodies to round off the show.
And if everyone would please close their eyes, and I'm going to put each one of us under a shower of universal love so that you can be washed down, cleaned down, inside and out. And feel that shower on you. And now we're going to imagine a white light sword that is going to come through the top of your head, your top chakra. And this white light is going to regenerate all your chakras as it goes down through you. So let's start with the very top chakra. And this is your spiritual chakra, purple, Om. And let this light regenerate it. Make sure that the color is true, that it's spinning correctly around this white light. And then when you feel that it's been regenerated enough, let the light just move down to the next chakra, which is your third eye, and which is a dark blue. And let that regenerate. Needs to be spinning nicely, not all over the place. Good color, a true color. And let the white light make it into a true color. And then the light goes further down into your throat. And this chakra is for peace. And it is a light blue. And see that spinning. And feel the peace that it generates. Going further down, the light is going to enter your heart. And this chakra is green. And further down to your solar plexus, which is your power, your connection with others. And this is gold. And let it go further into your abdomen. And the next chakra is orange, and that is for relationships. Let it spin. And now further down to your base chakra, which is red. And make sure that red is a nice true red. No dingy spots, no dark places in it. And see that it spins correctly. And now the light is going to go through you and out and start pooling around your feet. And it's going to become a large puddle. And as it comes through you even more, it's going to develop into a lake. And even more, it's going to go as far as the eye can see. And whatever is in that pathway is going to be converted to the light. So all the dark little bits and pieces can be converted to the light. And now we're going to take our bazookas out, our mental bazookas out, and aim them at the dark cloud hovering above your head. And see that black cloud shatter and splinter and leave you. And what is there in its stead? And we'll take the bazooka again and aim it at the black cloud behind the small of your back and see that evaporate. And now we are going to peel ourselves like a grape of the things that encompass us and are at tight bonds around us. So we will start off with betrayal. Let us peel ourselves of betrayal. And again, peel yourself of anger. And peel yourself of despair. And how about fear? Fear of the future. Fear what's going to happen now. And how about hatred? Peel yourself off. And I'm sure you can all think of one or two that you might be carrying Would you do that for yourselves now? Okay. Right, we are now going to reconnect ourselves with the Creator. So taking the energy from your heart up through the top of your head and send it out to the Creator. And the Creator is going to send back to you the Creator's energy through the top of your head, down through all the chakras to the base, and then back up to the heart. Breathe it in. And we're going to do the same to our souls, taking the energy from the heart up through the top of the head and off to the soul. And then from the soul, back to you, down through from the top of your head to the base chakra and back up to the heart. Breathe it in. And now repeat 3 times. I reclaim my power. I reclaim my power. I reclaim my power. And we're going to put as the last thing the shamanic circles of protections around us. So 7 circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe them all in, and when you're ready, open your eyes. Thank you.